beginner's sequence. We're going to focus on warrior one, warrior two, and goddess with a few twists. So let's get started. I start at the top of our mats in mountain pose. I'm going to sweep the arms up and overhead and back down. Inhale your arms up and overhead as you inhale and down as you exhale. Do this a few times just to calm the mind and regulate the breath. Tuck the pelvis, keep the feet tight together. And next time the arms go up and overhead, bend at the left elbow, catch the left elbow with the right hand, and bring the left hand to the bottom of the neck. Find a bit of resistance here. Draw the shoulder blades together. Find a stretch through the tricep. Inhale, the arms come up overhead. Bend the right arm. Use the left hand to catch the right elbow. And we'll do the same thing on this side. Inhale, and as you exhale, fold all the way down. Keep a bend in your legs, a really deep bend for this first one. And we just find some movement here. You can find some movement in the legs. Bring your hands side to side. Find some movement in the hips. Whatever feels good, just open up the body. Start to find a bit of warmth in the muscles. Allow the head to just fall with the weight of gravity. Don't hold any tension in the neck. And use your fingertips to trace the tops of your feet, the shins, the palms of the hands come over the knees, and tuck your elbows into your hip creases. Draw your shoulder blades together. Find the length through the spine and the neck, and the crown of the head reaches over the top of the mat. Exhale to fold back down, bending the knees, finding some movement. Trace the feet with the hands, the shins, the knees, tuck the elbows, and lengthen through the spine and the neck. Exhale to fold. Step your right foot back. Bring the right knee to the ground. The left knee stacks over the left ankle. And we untuck the toes on the right foot. Hinge at the hips so that you're moving your left knee over the tops of your left toes. And we're finding a stretch here in the right hip flexor. Shoulders draw away from the ears and down at all times. And then come up and hinge your butt back towards your right heel as you come onto the heel of the left foot. Flex the left foot and find a stretch in the hamstring of the left leg. Inhale, bend the left knee. The knee leans forward over the left toes, and we find that stretch in the right hip flexor again. Sink the hips further towards the mat to find a deeper stretch. And then tuck your right toes so that you're coming onto tippy toes. Find some strength in the left leg and lift the right knee off the ground. Make sure the left knee is stacked on top of the left ankle and swing your arms up, forwards and overhead. Lengthening through the front of the body, drawing your shoulders away from your ears, bending the back. And then with your next inhale, find even more strength to lift through the left leg, pivot the right toes and bring the heel of the right foot to the ground. The right foot is at a 90-degree angle. Your hips are now facing the long edge of the mat and the arms come out to a T. We're in warrior two. There's a bend in your left leg. You can see your left toes and you're looking over the middle finger of your left hand. pressing your hands into an imaginary shelf beneath you. Breathe here. Inhale and bring your right hand down and forward. Pivot on your right toes. Hop your right foot slightly forwards and bring the foot down at a 45-degree angle. Arms swing down and up. You're in warrior one. Arms come down in front of you in line with your gaze. Hands come together. Use your right hand to trace your left arm as if you're pulling a bow and arrow. And that right hand comes all the way back behind you. Turn your gaze over your right fingers. We're in a warrior one with a twist. Inhale and bring the right arm back down, up in front of you. Arms come up overhead. Warrior one. Straighten the left leg. Bring your hips to face the short edge of the mat and hinge at the hips. We're going to take a pyramid pose. You can hop your right foot forwards closer to your left foot if you need to, and keep your feet on railroad lines rather than a tightrope if your balance is off. Your hands should be just fingertips to the ground or in a fist if you have sensitive wrists. Or you can even bring your hands to a prayer pose in front of the chest here, but you're hinging over the left leg. Both legs are straight, hips are square and level. You haven't got one hip like pointing up towards the sky and the other towards the ground. They should both be on the exact same level, natural level, and the head just floats towards the earth. One more breath here, pressing through every edge of both feet. Inhale and come all the way up, back to stand. Feet come together at the top of the mat, and now we'll step the left foot back. Whoa, with balance. Bring your left knee to the ground and untuck your toes. We're going to float the right knee forwards beyond your right toes and find a stretch in the left hip flexor. Sink your hips towards the ground. And then slowly bring the left knee back, bump your butt cheeks back towards your left heel. As you pivot onto the heel of the right foot, right leg is now straight, right foot is flexed, and we're stretching the hamstring of the right leg. Inhale to bend the right knee. The foot comes back to the ground. The right knee bends beyond the right toes. And we're back to stretching the left hip flexor again. Tuck the left toes. Find strength through the right knee. And we're going to lift the left knee off the ground. Bring the hips back so that your right knee is stacked on top of your right ankle. Bring the pivot on the toes of the left foot and bring the heel to the ground. So at a 90-degree angle. Hips face the long edge of the mat. You can see the big toes on your right foot. Arms come out to a T. We're at warrior two. Gazing over the fingertips of the right hand. Take a couple of breaths. Pressing through every edge of both feet. Pivot on the toes of the left foot. Hop the foot forward very slightly and bring it down to the ground at a 45-degree angle. Hips now face the front edge of your mat. Swing your arms down and up overhead. Warrior one. Breathing here. Slight back bend. Shoulders away from the ears. Find length through the fingertips all the way through the spine. Arms come out in front of you. Palms come together. Left fingers trace the right arm, drawing a bow and arrow all the way back. Arm comes back behind you. Warrior one with a twist. Hips are still facing the front of the mat. Gaze follows the left arm and looks over the fingertips of the left hand. Inhale and swing the left arm down, back towards the front, and both arms come back up overhead, back into warrior one. Straighten through the right leg. Right leg is now straight. Hop your left foot slightly further forwards, closer to your right foot, maybe about 3 feet apart. Inhale and find length, and then bend at the hips. Allow the head to come over the right foot. Pyramid. Both legs are straight here. Your hips are in line. They're facing the short edge of the mat. Make sure you can feel the stretch in both legs. Don't press too heavily into the hands if you have any wrist complaints. Inhale and come all the way up. Feet come together at the top of the mat. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale as you fold all the way forwards, bend at the knees. Head comes towards the ground, forward fold. See if you can straighten your legs a little. Stomach is still pressing into the tops of the thighs. Inhale, slowly rise all the way up, feeling each vertebrae open. Right foot steps back. Bring the right knee to the ground. Find your positioning here. Get your foundations right. Left knee stacked over the left ankle. Allow the hips to sink towards the mat. Find a stretch in your right hip flexor. Arms come up overhead. Find back bend. Arms come out in front of you. Palms come together. Trace your left arm with your right fingertips. Draw your hand all the way across your chest and back behind you, gazing over the right fingertips. Now, if you can, find some strength in your left leg and lift your right knee off of the ground. Hold here. Keep breathing. Draw your belly button towards your spine. If balance is difficult, bring your right knee back down to the earth. Inhale and draw your right arm back towards your left arm at the front. Lift your right knee off of the mat. Pivot on the toes and find warrior two. Arms come out to a T. Elbows bend behind your back. Inhale here, find length. Hips are facing the long edge of the mat, and your head comes towards the top right corner of the mat. We fold at the hips. Head is towards the top right corner. Inhale, come all the way up. Arms come to a T, warrior two. Straighten the left leg. Pivot on the heel of the left foot. And both feet are now parallel to each short edge of the mat here. You can turn your toes slightly so that they point towards the corners if that's more comfortable. Tilt the pelvis so that your bowl of water is level, and bend at the knees. Adjust your feet if you need to. Arms come out to the sides, bent at the elbows. Back is straight, spine is long, neck is long. Inhale, and we're going to straighten the arms and the legs. Exhale to come back, bending the knees and the elbows. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Arms come out in front of you. Right fingertips draw the left arm all the way across your chest and back behind you. See if you can gaze over your right shoulder. Sink your hips lower. Inhale to come back to center. Straighten the legs. Take a breath. Bring the toes slightly towards each other. So heel toe your feet. Heel toe, heel toe. So you're probably about 3 or 4 feet apart. Hands come to the hips. Bend the knees. Hands come to prayer at the heart. And see if you can sink your hips down and use your elbows to open your knees out. Spine stays nice and long. If you find that you're tilting so that your head's coming towards the ground, then tilt your pelvis underneath. Rotate your hips so that your pelvis comes further underneath you to lift your spine up. Well done. Inhale, come all the way back up. Ooh, it's a good stretch. Come to the top of your mat. Inhale, bring your arms up and overhead. Exhale as you fold forward. Forward fold, let your head sink towards your toes with the weight of gravity. See if you can find any length in your hamstrings. Keep your stomach pressed against your thighs. Let's see if you have any more straightness in your legs than you did before. Notice if it feels any different this time. Inhale to slowly rise all the way up. Open each vertebrae one at a time. Draw your shoulders back, down and around. Step your left foot back. Bring your knee to the ground. Untuck your toes. Stack your right knee over your right ankle. Sink your hips down towards the ground. So probably shift your knee slightly further forward towards your toes. That's fine. Just finding some stretch in the left hip flexor. Bring the knee back over the ankle so that your foundation's alright, you're fully stacked. Tuck your toes. Bring your arms down to sweep your yoga mat forward and up overhead. Excuse me. Find a back bend here. Bring your arms out in front of you, palms together. Trace your right arm with your left fingertips all the way across your chest and out behind you. Gaze towards the fingers of your left hand. Find length from the left fingers all the way through the right fingers, like the arms are being pulled apart by different people. Glue your thighs together. Find strength in your right thigh and lift your left knee off the ground. Bring the knee back to the ground if you're struggling with your balance. Push through the left heel to find length in the left leg. Keep the left leg nice and straight. Bring the left knee down. Left arm sweeps back towards the right. come up overhead. Press through the left foot, bring the left knee off the ground. Pivot the toes so that the foot's at 90 degrees and you're in warrior two. Hips are facing the long edge of the mat now. Draw your right knee outwards so that you can see your big toes. Arms out to a T, pressing down on an imaginary surface, gazing over the right fingertips. Arms come together behind you. Hands grab each elbow. Inhale to draw the chest up, find some length. And then exhale, hinge at the hips and bring the crown of the head towards the top left corner of your mat. The right shoulder comes to meet the right knee. Take a breath here. Inhale to come up. Arms come out to a T. Warrior one, warrior two. I'm just going to rotate so that you can see me. So pivot your feet so that both of the feet are at 90 degrees and parallel to the short edge of the mat. We're going to come back to a goddess pose. Again, if it's more comfortable, you can turn the toes so that they point towards the corners of the mat. You're going to bend at the knees. Back is nice and strong. Neck is nice and long. Arms bend at the elbows. Cactus arms. And we're going to inhale and straighten the legs and the arms. Exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Bring the arms out in front of you. Trace the right arm with the left fingertips all the way along the arm, all along the way of the chest. Comes out behind you. Goes over your left fingertips. Inhale to bring the arm back down in front of you. Hands come to the prayer pose at the chest. Straighten the legs and heel toe the feet so that the stance is a bit shorter. Bend at the knees and bring the elbows to the insides of the knees. Back nice and long. You can find some movement here if that feels good in your hips. Remember, tilt the pelvis if that helps you to keep your back straight. But this does come with practice. Inhale, come all the way up. Oh, well done. Bring the feet together. Really together, knees together, zip the thighs together. Sink the hips down. Sweep the arms to graze your yoga mat down, up and in front of you. Chair pose. Looking at the big toes of the feet. Arms up in front of you. See if you can take your gaze to between your hands. Hands come to prayer pose. And extend the legs. Well done. Give a little shake. Weight comes into the right leg. Come onto the tippy toes of your left foot. You're going to find a tree. Take it nice and slow. Just take the toes off the ground first of all. Then try the shin, keeping the knee rotated outwards behind you. Micro bend in the right leg. If you're comfortable here, bring the foot to the inside of the right thigh. The foot can't be on the knee joint of the right leg. It can be above or below. Tuck the pelvis. Hands on the hips, hands at the heart. Or if you're ready, arms up and overhead. rotating the left hip so that the knee is really fully rotated, pressing behind you. Find resistance between the foot and the thigh, pressing into one another. That can help you to find your balance. Really digging each of the toes into the ground. Well done. Take your peace fingers and your thumb to the toes of your left foot. Keep hold of the big toe of your left foot and bring your leg out in front of you. You might just be here, that's absolutely fine. Working on lengthening that leg, pushing through the toes to really draw the shoulder blade. Keeping the back straight, so not rounding here. Wherever you are, however bent your leg is, that's fine. See if you can rotate the leg out slightly towards the side. Wherever you are, come back to center. Release the toes and bring the outside of the left foot to the right shin. Stay here or tuck the foot behind the right leg. Sink the hips down. Just a couple of breaths here. And come back center, left foot comes to the ground. Shake out the legs. And we'll do the same on the other side. Right foot comes to its tiptoes, rotating the knee outwards. Bring the foot to the shin. When you're ready, bring it up to the inner thigh, finding resistance between the foot and the leg, pressing every toe down in that standing foot. Shoulders down and away from the ears at all times. Spine nice and long, each vertebrae feels opened up and spacious. Find a spot of focus for your eyes to settle on. Micro bend in the standing leg can help. Try not to lock your knees. Keeping that right knee rotated outwards as if you've got someone pulling at it from behind. Bring the peace fingers and the thumb of the right hand to the big toe of the right foot. And again, just working on straightening that right leg. The knee can be completely bent, that's absolutely fine. Just use the foot to really draw through the arm and draw the shoulder blade. Gradually working on extending that leg fully whilst keeping your spine straight and your hips level. See if you can rotate that leg outwards. Back to center. Release the toes and bring the outside of the right foot to the shin of the left leg. If you can, tuck the foot behind the right leg, tuck it into the calf and sink your hips down into a half eagle chair. These postures take time, so don't worry if you're wobbling all over the place or if you need to lean on a door or a wall. They take the time to grasp and to get right. This is the long game. And wherever you are, straighten through, release the leg, stretch them out, and we'll come to the ground. Bring your sit bones to the ground. We're going to go into a boat pose. Bring the hands to the knees, underneath or on top, and we're just going to tilt back on our hip bones, sit bones rather, knees parallel to the sky, shins parallel to the sky. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. Zip the legs together. Release the hands if you can. Draw the belly button into the spine. Point through the toes. Another couple of breaths. Well done. Bring the feet to the ground. Going to come all the way down to our backs. Make sure that your back is flush to the ground. Bring your heels hip width distance apart, and so that your fingertips can touch them. Press your shoulder blades into the earth beneath you. You can tuck them in if that works for you. Keep your fingertips pressed into the earth and lift your hips up off the ground. And try to lift your thighs towards the sky above you. See if you can tuck your shoulder blades beneath you a bit more. Keep lifting, press through the feet, and keep lifting your hips up. Your neck is nice and long, it shouldn't be crunched in any way. Your chin may be towards your chest. And then come back down slowly. Take a breath and we'll do that one more time. Inhale and lift the hips up. Press through the feet to get a taller lift. And then eventually over time, you should be able to bring your hands towards your ears and press through into a full wheel. Slowly bring your spine back down towards the ground, one vertebrae at a time. Bring your knees in towards your chest, give your knees a hug. Lift your head up towards it if that feels comfortable. A little rock, give your back a massage. Head comes back down to the ground, so lift your legs up to bring your feet towards the sky, the soles of the feet towards the sky, feet are flexed. Just allow gravity to allow your legs to just naturally pop back to where they're supposed to be after all of those hip openers. Find a little movement if you like, or rotate the ankles in each direction, give them a little twirl. In fact, let's do our wrists as well, in both directions. Bring your feet back down towards your mat. The right ankle comes on top of the left knee. Flex your foot and bring your right hand through the gap between the two legs to clasp around the back of the left thigh, and the left hand comes to meet it. Lift your legs so that your shin of your left leg is parallel to the sky, and use your right elbow to push into your right knee. Just open up those hips a little bit. You can extend your left leg now if you like, using your hands to draw your leg towards you, towards your chest, and using your elbow to push your right knee away. Left foot comes back down towards the ground. Right foot releases to the ground too. And then we'll switch. Left foot comes over the right knee. Left hand comes through the middle to the back of the thigh, right hand also to the right thigh, and lift your legs off the ground. Extend your right leg if you wish to, drawing your legs towards your chest and using your left elbow to push your left knee away. Bring your right foot back to the ground, keep your left foot where it is, and we're just going to bring the right, we're going to bring the right leg over to the left hand side, so both legs come towards the left hand side. Your left foot is still on top of your right knee, but we're just taking a bit of a spinal twist. Come back to center, release the left foot, bring the right foot on top of the left knee, and bring both legs down towards the right hand side. Shoulder blades are still flat on the mat, and we're just taking another spinal twist in the other direction. Come back to center. Legs go out long. Hands either come down at the side, palms facing up, or you can bring one hand to your stomach and one hand to your chest. We'll just take a shavasana as we close our practice today. So keep your eyes closed. Bring your thoughts back to your breath, concentrating on breathing in and breathing out at your own natural rhythm, leaving everything else behind. Any other thoughts pop into your mind at the moment, just pop them into a little box, and you can open those up later. But for now, as we lay here on our mats, our minds are just thinking about the steadiness of our breath, thinking about our lungs as they inflate with every breath in, and how the lungs release with every breath out. Allow the mind to calm and still. Find some quietness. Allow the body to sink into your mat. Feel each area of the body that touches the earth, your head, your shoulders, your triceps and elbows, perhaps your hands, your spine and your hips, your thighs, your calves, your heels. And feel your body sinking deeper and more heavily with every breath in that you draw. I'd encourage you to stay here for another 5 minutes or so, just concentrating on your breath in and your breath out, finding some quietness and stillness before you continue with your hectic life. I'd like to thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Thank you for giving me your time and your energy, for letting me be a part of your journey and your day, your experience in this life.